Right. I know this is maybe a second chance for you, and you put up a tweet saying it is possible still. But first, for those who may not be conversant with what has played out, can you give us a quick backstory into what the tribunal decided on, particularly in that election?
Okay, so what the tribunal basically decided was that that we have to go back into the constituency, into specific parts of the constituency to conduct a supplementary election. Basically, what we found was when the elections were happening, there were multiple polling units, over 30 polling units, and that basically summed up to almost 30,000 people who had their voters' cards, who were ready to vote, but for some reason or another were prevented from voting. So, in some places there was violence, in some places there was voter suppression, in other places INEC just wasn't able to show up for some reason or another. But basically, these 30,000 people were prevented from exercising their constitutional rights and prevented from participating in the election. And what the courts have decided, and I'm particularly grateful that the courts decided that every vote deserves to be counted and every voice deserves to be heard, regardless of who you're voting for. So even after the elections, I joined hundreds, if not almost 1,000 protesters at the Collation Center, and it was covered by the news media at the time, where people were really frustrated that they didn't get a chance to participate in that election. And I think that's important. It's an important thing for our democracy that people are not prevented from exercising their constitutional rights to participate in an election. For me personally, it's a miracle in and of itself that we get another chance to finish the election. I think it's a testament to the power of perseverance, the power of faith, and the collective will of the people who want to participate in the rebuilding of this democracy. So it can only be a positive. And by God's grace, I believe we'll come out okay.
But I'd like to get your perspective to this, because your opponent, the candidate of the Labour Party, also put up a tweet saying that he wants to clarify that he was not sacked. Do you agree with that assertion?
Well, I mean, the court has decided what it's decided. And, according to what their decision is, he is supposed to, the way that the judgment was read to us was that he has to return, the certificate of return has to be withdrawn from him, and the court considers the election still ongoing, and that it's not done. And we have to go back and finish the election for us to decide the winner. Now, however, anyone wants to interpret that is completely fine, and it's up to them. We can only abide by the letter of the law and what the court has said. I also personally don't like to focus on what anyone else is saying or what anyone else is doing. I really like to focus on my own candidacy and what the issues are, and the chance that we have for the people that do believe in us and believe that we can provide a TSR with true representation and servant leadership and compassion and the kinds of representation that we've been missing, all of these years. I believe that we have a chance to do that. So, based on what the court has decided, we're willing to go back into the field and contest this election. And I'm optimistic. I'm genuinely optimistic.
Interestingly, this is not your first time out. So let's talk about your chances this time. The Labour Party won the first time out. I'm talking about the election held some months ago. And the candidate perhaps just leaned on the obedient movement's popularity, which is quite interesting because the obedience may love your music, like a lot of Nigerians do, but doesn't look like they love your politics. So how do you plan to work around that?
Okay, so, the truth is, Bidemi, I don't know enough about the opponent who's currently in the lead in the election. I did try to look up some information about him. I couldn't find that many videos of him speaking about his policies and all of that. I couldn't find a lot of information. But like I said before, I'm not the type of person who would try and downgrade anyone. I'm not here to play politics the dirty way or to slander or look down on anyone. I'd rather focus on myself, who I am and who I'm not, and focus on the opportunity that Etiosa has been given to make a choice. I'm the kind of representative that believes in true servant leadership, that believes in accountability and transparency and communication. I'm not the kind of person that, if I am given a chance to serve, and this is completely up to the people, but if I am given that chance to serve, they won't just hear from me in tweets, once in a while. I'll be out there, I'll be engaging, they'll be carried along at every step of the way. I'll be here front and center. I've been here for years. Like you said, yes, we were caught up in a wave, and, there's nothing we can do about that. But I think now it's clearly a choice between three people. And, the constituents who do have an opportunity to show up have to realize the immense power that they have to make this. So the analysis says that we stand a very good chance of turning this thing around, because the areas that they happened to prevent the election from occurring happen to be some of the strongest areas that I have. It's where I've done the most community service work. It's in Ogombo, it's in Ilado, it's in Aja, in Shangotedo, it's in the parts of Etiosa where I am particularly strong, where we have true believers, true supporters, thousands of volunteers, people who really connect with our values and our vision for what Nigeria can be and what this constituency can be. So I really do like our chances. Now, granted, there are challenges with getting people to come out for a supplementary election, because, there's apathy that will set in, and people who were disenfranchised the first time around. I mean, I've engaged with people on the ground. I've been out talking to my constituents. There were people who were waiting from morning till night, and INEC never showed up. There were people who came to the polling booth and found that they didn't have House of Reps ballot papers. There were people who had to run from rumors and incidents of violence. So the people in Etiosa have been through a lot. Talk less of the NSAS situation, and so we've been through a lot in this constituency, and I'm willing to bet that based on all of these things, we will find enough people to come out, participate in this supplementary election, and make what they believe is the right choice. And by the grace of God, hopefully that choice will be me.